being recorded. Okay. So we're going to be starting right now. Yesterday, I think in the discussion group chat, and someone was talking about translations, and the person was saying that translation, you could actually use Grammarly to actually do your translation. So this brings us to what is translations. What is translation all about? So when we talk about translations, even lyrics translation, we are talking about you being able to share a particular information in various languages. It means you sharing, it can be words, it can be their voice. Those some people actually say that transcription is that of voice, but it's still the same thing. So you can actually translate audios to write-ups, like you can actually translate from various languages to other languages, from English to Igbo, from Igbo to stuff like that. So translation is you changing or changing a particular language or a particular information from one language to the other. It can be audio, it can be textual, it can be text, it can be audio. So now we're talking about various ways of by which a translation can actually hold. Please, when you catch it to mute, please. So right now, we'll be talking about the best skills that you need in translation. And now I always hear people say that Igbo language don't have most translations. That's not true, because people that in top offices, we all know that Igbo language is one of the highest required languages in translation. Same with French. Same with French. In fact, all languages, they are all needed. So the thing is, you knowing where you are good at. Because I don't see reasons why you don't have your grammar level in French is zero, or your grammar level in Spanish is zero, and you want to do Spanish to English or English to Spanish. It doesn't work. Even a Liverpool cannot go. Because for you to be able to translate, your grammar level must be at least 90%. At least 90%. So you cannot just start doing something when you don't have a background knowledge about that particular language. Every language has its own dynamics. Every language has its own rules. I was teaching someone, I think last week, I told the person that English is SDO, French is DSO. So all these things are rules, all these things are grammatical rules of which you have to follow, meaning that for you to be able to do very well in translation, you have to have a background knowledge on the grammar of that language. So I'll always advise, if you're starting out as a translator and you don't have any particular language, I would suggest you do proofreading. At least English, you can just proofread. But for you to be able to do something, you should actually know what you are doing. It can be English to French, it can be English to Igbo, you can do English to Igbo. And I hear people saying that Igbo language doesn't give money. Igbo language gives a whole lot of money. Every particular thing gives a whole lot of money. It depends on you. It depends on your value. It depends on what you do. It depends on the value you have to offer to them. You can offer a value to them, and it's very much very, very great. You can sell it for $100,000. People will buy it because you know what you're doing. But there's a situation whereby you don't know what you're doing, and you get to send people to do this, you find out that it's actually going to be a problem. And that's the reason why you see most translators are actually Chinese. Most works you actually see right now are actually Chinese leftovers. Chinese, they try to work on it, and then when they try to work on it, Chinese, they don't really know English, and it's actually a problem. So when they finish working on it, you find out that works that a Chinese has done is always ruffled. Like English, everything is not in place because they don't know how to speak English. And that's the reason why they always look for English. That's the reason why they always look for English makers. So, Steve, I'd like you to meet the person. So, there's someone that is not muted here. So, this is one thing about languages. This is one thing about translation. Translations involve full attention. And yes, you could actually be translating Hausa, your native language, your village language, and your town language to English, and you still be making a whole lot of money. The thing is, do you really know what you're doing? Do you have that much value? Do you deliver perfect work? These are questions you have to ask yourself. So, there are various translation skills you need. There are various translation skills you need. So the first one is the advanced language knowledge. When we talk about advanced language knowledge, we are saying that you need an excellent knowledge of the language you are translating. It goes beyond you knowing A or B is a boy and that is a girl. It goes beyond that. This one has to do with you knowing the grammatical rules. Some places in Spanish you have to be FVO, some places you have to be VSO. So if you don't know those rules, it will be very difficult. And that's the reason why I always suggest for people to actually go to their native languages. And then you can, people always feel that the native language won't give them the money you want. No. You have to be translating your native language, and you still be making a whole lot of money. But the problem or the question is, do you really know what you are doing? So the very first thing you have to know is, and you really have to have is, you have to have a proper knowledge. Before going into translation, you have to have a proper knowledge of the language. If you want to go into pidgin, you must know pidgin rules. You must know pidgin rules. You won't go because, oh, I know pidgin. It goes beyond that because there are situations whereby you have to test it out. And that's the reason why when someone was mentioning, I think someone was mentioning the tools people use for translation yesterday, and then someone was saying Grammarly. Grammarly is not used for translation. No. Grammarly is just used to checkmate errors. It's not used for translation at all. The only tool that is actually used for translation is actually Google Translate. Google Translate. Google Translate is the only one that actually translates. And Google Translation are wrong. But Google Translation actually helps. Let's say you're having bulky words. Let's say you're having about 10,000. Here, let's have about 90,000 words. When you have that kind of work, here, let's example. When you're having that kind of work, you won't start reading everything from beginning to end, though, because honestly, you might not be able to meet the time because you might have a time frame and you might not be able to meet that time. And this is where Google Translate comes in. You translate everything from beginning to end via Google Translate. Yes, you might not be wrong, but you translate every single thing. After translating them, then you now start working on them. So the very first rule is you must have advanced language knowledge on that particular language. The second one is that you must have excellent writing skills. Translation is not word to word. It's not word to word. And that's the reason why Google translations are actually wrong, because Google translates word to word. And that's the reason why Google stuffs are not taken. They are not taken. So the second one is that you must have a way with words. Words should be very easygoing to you. Okay. This particular thing actually make you stand out as a translator. Because if you're not easy with words, just like you being a writer, I have had situations whereby I just wrote something on LinkedIn and someone is like, oh, I see what you're doing. I love what you're doing. I would like you to work with my brand. And it's not just a normal brand. I mean, it's a big brand. And that's Transcorp. So these are stuffs that people actually do. So if you have, or if you are easy with words, definitely people would definitely come for you because, oh, this girl's translations are actually great. Her Spanish is good, her French is good, her Igbo language is good. Not if they say people's language, you say people is Ndi, language Asusu, you say Asusundi. No, people's language is Olundi. So you see, they are different. They are different. Asusundi and Olundi are different. Asusu means language, Olutu means language, but they are different. So this is what I'm trying to talk about. For you to be a good translator, you must be very easy with words. Words should be very easy for you. You won't be having situations whereby you cannot write. You should be actually flowing well while writing. It will actually make your translation flawless. You won't have flaws. Number 3 is attention to details. Attention to details. Before you actually start translating, you have to run. There's what we call, if you do GS in school, you always hear them talk about skim. Skim. Skim is something that you fast read the document, like you skim through something. So before you actually start translating, you have to skim through. You don't just have to start from beginning and start. No, you have to skim through that document over and over again. Because you skimming through will help you know the details in that particular language. It will help you know the details in that particular language. That's the third one. And you have to make them pronounced. And the fourth one is the final translation and the review process. So this one now, you have to run through them. Even after making sure everything is perfect, you have to run through them. For us, at ELS, we have the person that actually skims through. The second person takes it over and starts working on it. After working on it, she gives it to the next person. The person finishes looking at it, and then they give it to someone that is into grammar. And the person gets to look at it. So before the document comes to me, it's almost flawless, like it's flawless already. But then when you try to just translate Bigidin, it becomes a problem. It becomes a whole lot of problem. So for you to actually translate, you must know these rules. You must have the skills by heart. First one, you must have advanced language knowledge of that particular language. You must have an advanced knowledge of that language. The second one, you must have very excellent writing skills. You must be easy with words. You must be easy with writing. You must write flawlessly. And the third one, you must be very attentive to details. And the fourth one, you should have a final translation and review process. You don't just go into it and boom, you're out. So now we'll be going into the 4 steps through language translation process. So if you've attended a translation school, you hear them talk about these processes. But unfortunately, not everyone actually takes those processes. But what one thing about this process is, once you're taking it, you find out that your game is always top-notch. You don't even fear, because your game is damn great. So one of the very steps is you reading the text. That's the skimming. You skim through. For us, we skim twice. We look at it twice. You know, there's this Igbo adage that says, when you look at something, when you look at something, another person looks at something, then that means this thing is actually this. So you skim through. For us, we skim through the stuff twice. And the second one is we retain the meaning. You get to know what you are talking about. We get to know what this particular material is talking about. And this is the reason why we have niches. We have the business document, we have law document, we have financial document, we have entertainment document, we have a lot of documents. So this is the reason why niches are very necessary. I might not be good with finances, and someone is good in law, and the other person is good in entertainment. I cannot be doing everything, because you cannot do it. There are some long words that you really have to know what's up before you actually be able to make it very well. So you have to retain the meaning. You have to know what you're using. Then the third one is that you have to be very rich in vocabulary. Like your vocabulary should be very rich, because in my translating, you have to use easy words. You have to use easy words that even if someone should take a look at it, the person will get to know what you're talking about. It's only in law document that you can use obnoxious words and it will make sense. But while translating normal documents, you do not use big words. You use easy words. That's the reason why your vocabulary is very much necessary. Let's say, for example, you're trying to translate, I am cold. You could just talk about, I feel chilly. This place is chilly. So these are stuff you actually need to know when you're translating. You shouldn't just be, I am cold, or just like I talked about the Olundi and Asusolu. They're different. And that's the reason why Zuckerberg's words are actually wrong. That's the reason why whenever you take a look at Mark Zuckerberg's translations, they are wrong. All those things are AI, artificial intelligence. None was actually done by a human being. And assuming they wanted a perfect translation, they would have actually gotten it right. But the problem is, who would actually sit down to read or learn the Igbo rules, the Yoruba rules, the Hausa rules, the stuff rules, the that rules? So you see the reason why it's very necessary to know the rules. Imagine a whole Zuckerberg, a whole Facebook, a whole Instagram. Their translations are wrong. Imagine when a normal person uses Google to translate. Imagine how it will be. They will fling your documents. They will fling it. Then the fourth one is follow the grammar. You must know grammar. Follow the grammar rules. Some are SVO, some are VSO. So before you actually start translating, you should know that particular language you want to start working. You should actually know how that language works. So before you actually go into translation, you should actually do a research on that language you're actually working with. Okay. Then the fifth one is you expressing the meaning. You expressing the meaning. Okay. Then sixth one, just like I said, use natural wordings. Don't be using big grammar. Big grammar for us. Because obviously, if you're translating products, you don't only translate only words, you can actually translate products. Translating products, you don't use big words. That one is even the worst. You cannot use big words for products because no one has the strength to come and read big things. It should be easy. It should be natural wordings. So that's the sixth rule. The first one, read the text. Second one, retain the meaning. Third one, choose vocabulary. Fourth one, follow the grammar. Fifth one, express the meaning. And the sixth one, use natural wordings. Okay, so that brings us to things you have to know in translation. The very first one is your overview, your subject matter, your content, your lens style, how technical it is, and you should skim. You should really skim before you start anything. Skimming is you going through something. You should really go through it, like all this fast. It's not that you start reading it. I said skim, not read. Reading is you taking proper this thing and reading. Skimming is just you fume, get to look at it. So you should know your subject matter, you should know the content, you should know your lens style, you should know how technical it is. And that's the reason why I was talking about niches. That's what I was talking about. Niches actually make it easier for you as a translator. It actually makes it easier for you as a translator. So the second one is have an initial translation. We did this at ELS. First of all, someone translates it before the other person translates, before we get to work on it together and see the one that is actually going first. That's the initial translation. Get to take a look at it again, get to translate it and get to see it. Then the third one is accuracy check. This is where Grammarly comes in. Grammarly helps you make it helps you clear your errors, punctuations, stuffs. It helps you correct a lot of stuffs. Okay, it helps you not to make much mistake based on punctuations, kiniko, like that. Okay, so the fourth one is to clear the wind. Since you've gotten through your accuracy, you now get to check everything, check the way everything is. You can, after checking the accuracy, you can actually go off and then you come back again and then you have your final polishing. Depends on how urgent that particular job is. It depends on how urgent that particular job is. Okay, so this is the reason why at ELS, you actually have them in two ways. There's one that actually takes time. That one, you're bringing it, that one actually takes a whole lot of time. But the other ones, which is the normal ones, are the ones that actually, they can tell you to deliver it in 3 months, and then deliver it next month. But the urgent ones are delivered sharp. Okay, so the next one is, what are the equipments, Abby? What great tools are actually used for translations? People ask this a lot. What tools can I help? Because, when you're translating small words, 100 words, 200 words, you won't know what's up. So you're translating 100,000 words, 120,000 words, 500,000 words. Yes, people do it. Then you know that this one I've passed yet. Yes, the money is much, but at the same time, you really have to know what you're doing. So this is where Google Translate comes in. You can use Google Translate, you can use Amazon Translate, you can use Sistran Translate. There are 3 translation machines you can use. You can use Google Translate, you can use Amazon Translate, you can use Sistran Translate. Okay, then tools that can actually help you for a great translation. We have the Grammarly. And Grammarly helps you a lot in checking grammatical errors. It helps in detecting copied works. Okay, so for copied works, let's take for example, you're writing an essay. That's most essay companies or essay organizations, they don't read your essay. They don't. They just put it in the machine and then bring out and check it with Grammarly. And then when they see it somewhere, you're like, wow, this girl copied, and then you're marked wrong immediately. Okay. So someone was actually saying something. Okay, the tools. I said you can actually use Google Translate, you can use Amazon Translate, and you can use Sistran Translate. Sistran is spelled as Sistran. This is arrow, sorry. Sistran Translate. So you can use Google, you can use Amazon, you can use Sistran Translate. This one is for machines, for much work. When you have a whole lot of work. Honestly, if you have a whole lot of work, you won't even use normal because you will get confused. So it's better you, first of all, use those machines to actually make it easier for you before you now start work. At least it will be easier that way, because you're working with multiple words. Then you can now use Grammarly to actually get to check everything. So Grammarly checks citation suggestions. It helps in clearing out grammatical errors, punctuation errors. It gives you a suggestion. Let's say you're making a mistake and you want to use. It helps in wordings. Like instead of you saying she's feeling sick, you can use she's feeling uneasy or something. So Grammarly actually helps you with wordings. That's just one thing about Grammarly. It's very nice, but for Grammarly to help you with translations, nah, it doesn't. It's just helping you as far for you to have a perfect work. That's just it. That's what Grammarly is doing, nothing else. Yeah, that's it. It's not doing any other thing. That's just what it's doing. So now people ask this question. So how can I earn as a translator? People say translators are poor. Translators are not poor. They're not poor. But just like I told you, I said, for you to actually prosper as a translator, you have to know what you are doing. First of all, you should have a niche. And I don't have a niche is because I actually work at ELS and we have various people there. So I don't really have niche. But you must actually have a niche. Secondly, you must know your work. Like, you must know your work. You must know what you are doing. Because it's not every boss you can work with and fume. You do nonsense work and fume, you go. No. You have to do perfect jobs. Else, some people might drag you on Upwork and it might actually ruin your career. No, niche as per places you want to be taking translations from. People take from law alone. People take documents. Some people take financials. Some people take reports. Some people take articles. So there are different niches. Some people do lyrics. Normally, it's lyrics I actually do because I actually love entertainment. I love entertainment a great deal. I do more of movies and musics. So I was actually into this niche because it was kind of easier. I could actually relate to it. Yes, I could actually relate to it more than all those big grammars and everything. But the reason why we are doing all of them at ELS is that we actually have people with all these experiences there. So I just have to just go through it as per Gamaru specialist or something. Okay, so you actually have to know what you're doing. And this particular one, work, is the major thing here. Because if your work is great, trust me, people will come for you. And yes, people might want to see that you've worked for them to actually give you a translation work. So how do you have work experience before you actually start work? Go and do volunteerism. Volunteer. I always say there's a huge difference between a normal work, a volunteer work, and a free job. There's a huge difference between a normal work, a volunteer work, and a free job. A free job is when you don't get shishi. You don't get certificate. You don't get recognition. Nothing. Volunteerism, you don't get paid, but you get to build your skills. You get recognized. You get certification. And the first one is when they pay you. So now, what kind of volunteerism do I used to say this? So I've always been very intentional since I was 12. I've always been intentional since I was 12. I never did any free job, like free. I always did volunteer job, not just for any stupid people or stupid companies. I did it for people that were well recognized. I worked for Rotary, and that was what actually boosted me. There was this conference Rotary did in Hamburg, Germany. I did the translation of Spanish. So for you to volunteer, don't just volunteer for any company just for doing sake. No, there's some recognitions. There's some recognitions that will put you in limelight. There's some recognitions that will give you a whole lot of contracts. And that's the reason why you have to be very much intentional about your works. So at least you can work for ECOWAS, you can work for UNICEF. UNICEF, they need volunteers. You can go apply for UNICEF for jobs as a volunteer. You can actually work for Ministry of Health, Ministry of Works. They all need volunteers. You can actually volunteer. Don't just volunteer for normal stuff. Volunteer where you will actually earn a whole lot from. It might not be money. Everything is not money, but a good company, a recognized company gives you what money cannot give you. And that's the reason why sometimes I will actually choose recognition to money, because recognition might actually take me to where money cannot take me to. So when you talk about work, you have a volunteerism stuff from a well-recognized organization. You can talk about WHO, their vacancies for volunteers. You can talk about UNICEF. You can talk about ECOWAS. You can talk like there are many. There are many that need volunteers. You can go in there. You can go into there's this one that deals on human rights. You can work for them. I think they're on LinkedIn, human rights Kiniko Kiniko. You can go to them, chat one of them up, tell them, please, I would like to volunteer in your company as a translator. You will not only get certification, you will get something worth more than that. Because it's this same work that will actually put you out there. This same work that will give you the strength, that will give you the capability, that will help you handle multiple jobs. Because that you're getting job is not 100 though, 100 words. When you get 10,000, when you get 50,000, that time you will know that you're working. So when you have that certification, it's actually a whole lot, a whole damn lot. So it's this work that will help you gain more jobs out there. So you know this. The first one is niche. The second one is work. And the third one is the value of your work. The value of your work. People don't know about value. People don't know about value. Value push you where you never even intended to come there. But value will uplift you to that very high. But you must have value. Value is not that, oh, I know what I can't do this, I'm bigger than this. No. Value is the kind of jobs you actually. Okay, there was this person that said, no, Empress doesn't do small jobs. Like Empress doesn't not like small jobs, but like jobs that have issues. And this is something that ELS has been going with. ELS just came out, I think, last 2 years. ELS came out last 2 years officially. And yes, there are many other companies out there, but we've still been thriving. And that's because of value. And with value, even if you call 100,000, people will still come for you. But with value, without value, even if you're about $2 or 2 naira, people will not come for you, or 0.02 naira, people will not come for you. Because you know that you do trash. Just like foreign languages, people will not come for you if you know that. If you like, you're charging 10,000, 5,000. That's why you see people they are teaching with 5,000 naira, but if you come to their class, you just see 3 students, 2 students, 1 student. And that's not because they don't know what they're doing. It might be because they don't know what they're doing. But the main reason is that there's actually no value there. So value is very much important. Values are very much important. With value, you can say your price is 1 million. Someone will tell you, can I send my account details for that? And that's one thing about value. So having talked about this, we'll talk about how can or places one can actually earn as a translator. You can actually earn on Upwork. Upwork is even where they have much translations. You can earn on Upwork. You can earn on LinkedIn. You can see volunteer jobs on LinkedIn. If you look for them, you find them. And we have pro bonus. I've talked about volunteer jobs. I talked about, I didn't talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the easiest place to get a job. So far, you know what you are doing. So far, you're good at what you're doing. Jobs will be throwing in left, right, center, middle. But then you must actually show or give value. And your CV must be very good. Your CV must be very good. Then the last one, pro bonus. Pro bonus is like doing things for people freely. It can be in form of a collabo, like a collaboration. It actually helps. It helps a great deal. It actually helps a great deal. It actually helps in pushing you out. Let's say you're starting and you really want to make it in the translation niche. Use the last one, use the collaboration method. It works like magic. And you don't just collaborate with ordinary people. or people that are starting out. You collaborate with big brands. It pushes you out. It gives you this ambience that, oh, this girl has handled this, you can handle mine. When I was starting, the first brand I actually worked with after Rotary was actually Tiger Foods. Their spices, the French version was actually done by me. There's a particular spice, the French version was actually done by me. So, and yes, that one was actually paid. But what I'm trying to say is, you can work to all these companies. Sir, please, I can actually help you with your translate. I can actually help you brand translate. I can actually help you do this. I can actually help you do that. What's your pay? Don't pay me, but tag me to your post. Before you do, go and check their followers first, so that you know you won't lose both ways. You check their followers first. So that way, when they tag you, you get to find out that you get to have lots of work, and people get to recognize you. People get to recognize you. So there are ways that you can earn as a translator on Upwork, on LinkedIn, via that way. Okay. And then the next question is, how do I, or what rate do I really charge? Honestly, I don't believe in undercharging. I don't believe in that, because if you keep undercharging, people will keep coming for you for small job. When they have big job, they won't come for you. That's the logic here. That's the logic here. Undercharging doesn't give anything, but so far you know it's worth it. You're starting out, you can actually start. When I was starting out, I think my rate was 2 naira per word. 2 naira per word. But now my rate right now is 200 naira per word. And I don't blink. Like, tell me, oh, sister, it's much, oh. That's our rate, sir. And it's in dollars normally. So these are rates. You actually have to know your rates before you even start out. You shouldn't just start and be doing click. You should actually point out what you want to do, how you want to end your targets. You should actually have all this mapped out. You can do game of numbers. Game of numbers is you attaining various heights, you accomplishing various targets. And you can actually accomplish that via Upwork. 2, LinkedIn. 3, volunteer jobs. 4, pro bonus. Volunteer jobs push you out. I know someone that's doing so well as a translator, but at the same time still volunteering, and not just for stupid brands. I mean, for foreign bodies, because the thing actually helps in pushing out her stuff. Okay. So I don't know whether you guys have any question before we go into lyrics translation. So if you have questions, you can actually unmute yourself and talk or ask your question before we go into lyrics translation. No questions? No one has a question? We don't have a question. We don't have questions. So can we go over to the next one, to lyrics translation? Can we go over to lyrics translations? I'd like to hear from you. Can we go over?
Yes, ma, we can go over, ma.
Okay. Okay, so I'd like us to go over to lyrics translation. So, first of all, what is lyrics translation? Lyrics translation. What's translation? Talk about lyrics translation. It's translating people's lyrics, people's music, people's lyrics, people's music, And most translators, this is a new niche. This is a new niche. And this particular niche has not been dominated as in translations. This particular one, now people don't really know it, but it actually exists. And me, I work on it. It actually does exist. And I work in this particular niche. So what's the lyrics translation? Lyrics translation is you working on people's musics, people's songs in various languages. And you might be wondering, working in people's song in various languages. So how does that one have to do with me? How do I get to do it or stuff like that? Okay, let me now give you this message. Lyrics translations actually help in boosting people's songs. It actually helps in boosting people's songs. Let's say, for example, we have this, you want to bamba, you want to chill with the big boys. Now they run kitty kitty, they run kata kata, and all of that. There's a French version of you want to run kitty kitty. So this particular thing actually boosted this particular song in the Francophone countries. It boosted this particular song in those countries. So when we talked about Peru Donkey Para, they brought the remix with Ed Sheeran. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I think it's Ed Sheeran or something. And when that particular song came out, it had about 5 translations in various languages, and it made that song top the charts. Like it stayed number 1 for I think months. It's topped number 1 for months. Peru topped number 1 for months, and that's because of lyrics translation. So lyrics translation actually helps, and it's one of these niches that are very much, it's not dominated yet. Only just few people do it. So in the lyrics translation niche, you can actually earn as a ghost lyrics writer. You can actually earn as a ghost lyrics writer. In this, as a ghost lyrics writer, they pay you very well. They pay you so well, but your name will not be mentioned. Your name won't be mentioned. It won't talk about who made the song or how it came about or stuff like that. And you said you don't have any rights to the song to come out and say, oh, this is my song, it was done by me, Kiniko. No, you are a ghost lyrics writer. You can get up to 5 million as a ghost lyrics writer, but your name will not be heard. And the second one is the lyrics writer. That's the lyrics translator. This one, they pay you and they still tag you. They pay you and they still tag you. And this one now is a win-win situation. They don't really pay you much like the ghost lyrics translator, but when they tag you, you've gained a lot of followers, you've gained a lot of customers too. So me, I wouldn't lie, I always go for the other one that they pay me and they still tag me. I love winning in both ways, because normally as a ghost lyrics writer, you don't really get more job. You don't get much jobs. The only time you get more job is when that particular person refers you, which is very rare. It's very, very rare for them to refer you. But they actually pay you so well in that particular one, but your name will not be heard. And when your name is not heard, no one knows that you're doing this. You cannot even come out and, you cannot even come out and post about the song or give credit to you. No, because it was actually ghost lyrics written. You can't do it. This is the reason why ghost lyrics translation is not bad, but it's bad, but they actually pay you very well. They just like they pay you off, so you don't get to come back. They pay you off, so you don't get to come back. But the other one, they pay you very well. And it just translates just like how they translate it. But then if you're translating most of Nigerian songs, you have to work hand in hand with a pidgin translator, because most Nigerian songs are mostly pidgin. The lyrics are mostly in pidgin. Omoge no be so. If you're translating, you will not say, Omoge, is it not so? Do you understand? And this is the reason why you have to work hand in hand with a lyrics, a pidgin translator. Okay, so the second one is, in this particular niche, is how do I dominate this niche? The best platform to dominate this niche, I mean the lyrics translation niche, is Instagram and TikTok. The best platform to conquer these two niches is Instagram and TikTok. So how do I dominate this niche? First of all, go to TikTok. TikTok does it more. If any song is coming out and it's trending, and you should also have the Apple stuff on your phone for you to be able to check in the charts. It helps. So when you're checking the charts and you see, oh, this song is trending. This song is trending. You could actually go to the producer and tell the producer, I would like us to work on the French version of the song. This is what it does. This is what they already know. They already know what's up. So you can tell them, don't pay me, but tag me. Don't pay me, but tag me. They will tag you. And once they tag you, people get to see you and they recognize you. Then you cannot start charging money. This is basic business. If you don't want to go through that way, you could actually, if you are very good in music, you're very good in beats, you're very good in keyboarding, you could actually do that song, record it, put it on TikTok. It will trend because that same moment that particular song is trending, it will trend. And once it's trending, the person might tag you. It's not that the person will tag you because that moment they're already bringing people that are singing that their song. They're really bringing those people out. And then they might now feature you, and it's a big blow. And funny enough, you can actually talk about this. If you're looking for songs to do, you can actually do this song. This Marvin song, Overdose Me. Number one, Marvin Don Jazzy, he's a very nice person. Very, very nice person. Don Jazzy gives free features. He gives free features. So you can actually do that, tag him. If you want breakthroughs, it's not hard. It's very hard, but you can break through. Get people to promote it. Get them to tag him. When they tag him, he reposts it. It's a big one for you. But you have to be checking the chat. So you don't go do song that's already going down already. You won't get anything from it. You won't get anything from it. So the best places to trend that kind of songs is TikTok, then Instagram too, but TikTok majorly. And once you're good, people get to be tagging you, people get to remember, people get to work with you. That time you got to the future, you get recognized by people. And then if you not take it as a career, it's a big one. And I know you as, okay, this one is a lyrics translator. Now this person where they do all the whole songs, where they do. If you're not very good in beats, very great, like it's a big one. Me personally, sometimes I actually work with a beats manager. It actually makes my work easy. I don't really have to stress after writing the lyrics. Some of them, they just contact me as per, oh, this girl does this and all, and I work on this. And most of the job I actually work on are not, they are all lyrics translations. It was only once I actually wrote one song, and even upon the money, I can't say, oh, this job was done by me. This is part of the ghost lyrics writing stuff. You can't talk about it. Most people actually am I saying? Most people are actually in this particular niche, but you don't know them because they are mostly ghosts, lyrics writing those people's songs. But for you to actually make it, forget the money. Your name first. They should know this name. This name should be recognized about this. This name should be known for this. This name should be known as this. Like you can even make your Instagram profile something the lyrics writer or the lyrics coder or something like that. Personally, I've worked on Lekon song and some artists too, and hopefully by God's grace, I will still work with more like David and all. So this is one thing about lyrics writing. You get to meet top artists, you get to work with them. I know, and it's a big privilege. It's a big privilege. So if you have any question, I will entertain you. We use the 6 minutes to answer questions right now. So I would like to hear your question. I'd like to hear your questions, please. Unmute your mic and speak, please. So we don't have any question. No question. Yes, I talked about niche. Yes. Before we talked about lyrics translation, we actually did talk about sorry. So Galaxy S9 Plus talked about, asked the question, can translation be for other aspects too, apart from music? And the answer is yes. But you should have a niche you are working in. It can be the law, it can be document, it can be health, it can be resources, it can be research, it can be articles, it can be financials. Like every single sector has their own translations. Every single sectors have their own translations. Okay, so every single this thing has their own translation. So you choose the one you want to work in. If you want to own a firm, then you can have all the whole services. But if you are doing it alone as a freelancer, then you have to choose one. Because trust me, you might think you know everything, but you don't know everything. Because you didn't read or have experience in all those niches. Even as a volunteer, they get to ask you, where do you want to work in? Okay. So the next question says, please, what Chinaya Gillette O says, please, what method or app or site do you think is best for one to learn a foreign language? Okay, so first of all, what works for A cannot work for B. Okay. Secondly, there are two ways of learning a particular language, especially foreign language. There's a language acquisition method and there's a language learning method. Learning method involves rules, kiniko. And acquisition method has to do with you being in that country, you having conversations and everything. But one thing about the acquisition is that most of the time you find out that people with acquisition method cannot do some works like learning method because they don't know the rules. And you can use apps, you can take classes, but while taking classes, be sure of the classes you're taking so you don't go waste your money and not get anything at the end of it. You first of all ask the person, your class, so is it A1 class or is it A2 class or is it B1 class or is it B2 class? What level is your class? So this is the answer to your question. So the next question says, the next question is by Aneke Godwin. He says, how can someone translate the lyrics of a song you are not the one that wrote it? That's what I'm saying. Before you actually do it, you can chat them up. If you can't chat them up, you can actually work with a beat manager and get to work on the song and you get to promote it on TikTok. Obviously, when that song is trending, they would actually feature you and tag you. And that's a big one for you. So the next question by S9 Plus says, there's a translation spike on Fiverr. Can you take us through how it works a bit on Fiverr? It works just like it works on Upwork. It works just like it works on Upwork. But just like I said, So far, you know what you are doing. So far, you know what you're doing. So far, you've had the experience in the jobs you're doing. Because obviously, no one would actually ask you to start or tell you to start working on something that you don't know what to do. So the first of all ask that, do you have experience in this? So people ask for 3 years experience to be sure that you've actually worked on it. So I believe I've answered your question. Then wow, Dua Paul says, as a beginner, how long does it take for one to be good in a particular language? It depends on your teacher. It depends on you. Most of my students attain fluency in 3 months, some in 5 months, some in 6 months. You know, we all are all different. We all are all unique. So what works for A cannot work for B. I have a particular student since I think he joined 2021, but he's still in my class 2022. And that's because he's been traveling. He doesn't have time for classes. So this kind of person cannot attain fluency, even in 3 months. So what works for A cannot work for B. So I believe I've answered your question. So it depends on you and your teacher. If your teacher is teaching you 2 methods, obviously you'll be able to do so fine. If it's 1 method, you definitely have a problem, because obviously you really have to know your grammars. Grammars keep you in check. Grammars make you stand out. Grammar make you attain fluency faster. If you don't know grammar, I'm so sorry, but you will not attain fluency, no matter how you waste your money, because grammar teaches you whys, the words, the everything. So I hope this was a great session, right? It's nice being with you guys today, and see you all next time. I have to go off now. I have a class by 8. Have a great day ahead. Thank you for having me. All the best.
Thank you for the lecture. We really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. See you next time. Bye. Bye.